Hey Esmeralda, do you have a minute? I wanted to talk to you about the search for the half math ed, half basic skills position.
Sure, what's up?
Well, I just wanted to see what you're thinking about the applicants now that we've finished the first round of interviews. I've been talking to some of the other search committee members, and it seems that the candidates that everyone has identified as rising to the top are Megan Hansen, Jason Klotz, Jake Haynes, and Roberta Rodriguez.
You mean Reyes?
Yeah, whatever her name is. Anyway, I wanted to see where you stand on the applicants, especially the last two, since we can only bring three back to campus for the finalist interviews. I think Jake is heads and shoulders above Roberta. There's no question.
Shouldn't we wait until our search committee meeting tomorrow to talk about all of the applicants?
Well, I don't want to spend the majority of the meeting arguing, so I figured I'd take the temperature before the meeting to see if we can reach a consensus and not waste our time. Anyway, it's clear even just with the applications that Megan and Jason are all too qualified not to move on to the next stage. They all have their PhDs from one of the UCs and have been teaching at a community college for a while. So really, it's about Jake and Roberta.
I don't think that's what we're supposed to be doing according to the academic search and EEO guidelines.
Oh, those are just for guidance. They're not binding. Anyway, I think Jake is as qualified as the other two. His academic pedigree is amazing. A master's from Stanford, and he's been teaching for 5 years. I know one of his colleagues at the community college he works for now. I called him and he said Jake's a great guy to hire. The other candidate, Reyes, she's an adjunct at a community college in Illinois. Heartland, Highland, one of those. I can't remember exactly. She got her master's from some school I've never heard of. Plus, she's only been out of graduate school for 2 years and doesn't have the experience.
That's great that Jake's colleague gave him a thumbs up, but doesn't Jake teach calculus or differential equations? Well, regardless, did you use the interview rubric for the candidate?
The rubric? No. I'm pretty good at knowing a candidate when I see one. 5 minutes was all we need to know whether they would move forward. Everything Jake said after the first 5 minutes was icing on the cake. I figured we could all fill out the rubrics together during the committee meeting.
I'm pretty sure we aren't supposed to do that.
Well, I think showing a united front is important. We don't want to give our Vice President of Instruction any reason to doubt the judgment of the committee. The Dean is completely behind getting Jake on board. Plus, Jake's student evaluations are solid. The students said he was funny. Did you notice what a great sense of humor he had during the interview? Students love it when we tell jokes in class. We all like to work with colleagues who seem laid back and fun. He would jive well with us. I mean, I know the others on the committee like Reyes, and she teaches dev math courses where she is now, but her answers seem to me like she's playing favorites and giving more attention to her Black and Hispanic students.
I took the Cora course last year that was being offered through the equity office, and one of the things I learned is that we as instructors need to be better about developing relationships with our Black and Latinx students and making them feel welcome in our classes. I like that she went into detail about how she encourages her Black and Latinx students to succeed and creates a class environment where group work is the norm. I also thought it was interesting how she introduces everyday applications for math concepts.
I mean, I guess, but what strikes me as unfair to the other students in the class. Anyway, Jake presented himself as very confident his entire interview. Rhea seemed nervous at first, and that worries me.
If I recall, she was very confident when talking about her teaching.
Well, I'm not sure her style of teaching is what our students need. We need to prepare them for the real world. Jake seems like he would be the guy to do that. He's knowledgeable about the subject, and the way he talks about his lectures, it seems like they were very straightforward and no nonsense. Math is a very straightforward and blind subject. I look forward to his teaching presentation.
But I think experience working with students who are in our basic skills classrooms, the vast majority of whom are Black, Latinx, and Pacific Islanders, is also important. Reyes did a good job of talking about her methods, though I wish I could have followed up on her answers to get more information.
You know, I wonder if focusing too much on specific groups is making more of an issue out of race than it really is. All of Reyes's focus on Black, Hispanic, Pacific Islander students in her interview seems more like coddling to me than teaching. It's only going to make it harder for the students later on. On the other hand, Jake's conceptual knowledge is very sophisticated. He obviously had good professors at Stanford, some of whom were my professors. The way he described his lecture seemed to be consistent with the way it's done around here. Anyway, students need to learn how to be independent learners in the classroom. That is how you and I learned, and we made it, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh, come on, you know we did. Anyway, what Jake doesn't know, I'm sure he can learn and learn quick.
I don't know. I had professors who had been teaching for years without realizing that there's a lot more to teaching courses than meets the eye.
Really? I mean, I guess it's been a while since I've done the remedial classes. Anyway, I better go and talk to Cynthia about the search. So can I count on your support to push for Jake?